Alright guys, so every once in a while, a Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord mod comes along that makes you drop your sword, squint at your monitor, and say, okay, this looks and plays so good. Tales from the Age of Men is exactly that, a total conversion that hurls you just before the War of the Ring. Forget Calradia's petty barons, here you're rallying the Riders of Rohan, marching with Gondor's finest, or leading the armies of Mordor to grind the free people into dust. With custom-made maps, races, factions, and weapons pulled straight from Tolkien's world, in this video I'll go into everything you need to know about this mod, how it stacks up against the other Lord of the Rings mod on Bannerlord, Kingdom of Arda, and by the end I guarantee you'll want to try this out next. So Tales from the Age of Men doesn't just show you Middle-earth on the campaign map, it totally immerses you in it. Head first, armor clanking, horse snorting, and all. It's massive, handcrafted, and drenched in atmosphere. You can ride from the snowy silence of Forohel down to the heat-shimmering dunes of Harad and feel the climate, the culture, and the mood change with every single step. The ridges around Mordor practically breathe sulfur, the forests of Lothlorien seem to hum with an old patient magic. There's no sense of copy-paste here. Every mountain range and river bend feels like it was sculpted by someone who stared at Tolkien's maps far too long and thought, no, the Anduin should curve just a little bit more to the east. And then there are the playable factions, a glorious, chaotic buffet of civilizations teetering on the brink of war. The free peoples are every bit as noble and occasionally tragic as well as you'd expect, so Gondor's legions march in polished mail under the white tree, grimly holding the line as if they'd know the world's fate rests on their shields. Rohan gallops across the plains like a thunderstorm made of spears and horsehair. The elves glide into battle with unnerving grace, the kind that makes you feel like you're in the movies, and the dwarves walking fortresses, stubborn, proud, and louder than a cave-in when the axes start to sing. And even among these good guys, there is a fantastic contrast in how they've been designed and developed and portrayed here, which I just absolutely love. On the darker side of things, the servants of Shadow are having the time of their miserable, blood-soaked lives, of course, as they should. Mordor is every bit the nightmare it should be, a tidal wave of orcs, trolls, and mercenaries, all kept in line by the promise of pain. Isengard feels cold and industrial, its Uruk-hai armies clanging forward like a war machine, and Dol Guldur simmers in the background, its necromancers weaving corruption into the soil itself. Then there are the Easterlings and Haradrim strutting into the battlefield in gold and crimson, bringing exotic weapons, war elephants, and a whiff of faraway deserts. It's not just good versus evil, it's a whole ecosystem of ambition, greed, loyalty, and very stylish armor. But where this mod really flexes, in my opinion, is in its sense of culture, in its world building. Everything from the architecture of Erebor to Mordor's siege towers feels handmade and fiercely specific. The elves glow, literally and metaphorically, in their moonlit halls, while the dwarves of Erebor hammer their identity in every plate armor. The men of Gondor, of course, live in stone cities that feel both ancient and a bit exhausted, monuments to a glory they're desperate to keep alive. Even the orcs carry their own twisted beauty, a kind of brutal artistry born from hatred. At the moment, Gondor is really the only faction with proper Gondorian cities, especially with Minas Tirith, but from all the previews we've seen for the other locations in the campaign, there is some amazing work on the way, and very soon too. The next update is very close to releasing and should add a massive variety of scenery for the player to discover and explore for many regions and cultures on the map. Now, if the world building of Tales from the Age of Men is the core of the experience right now, the battles are where things are looking really exciting in the future. Even in its current form, the clash of steel, the chaos of war already hints at something really special, and we have really good previews of what's to come in the next big update for Middle-earth's locations. In terms of battle mechanics, the groundwork is here, Gondor's disciplined lines holding the front, Rohan's cavalry crashing through the flanks, Mordor's twisted hordes surging in endless waves. The combat has weight and personality. You can already feel how much care has gone into how each culture moves and fights. It's not just about who has the biggest numbers, of course, it's about making every engagement feel and look like it belongs in Tolkien's world. But like I said, what really has the community buzzing is this promise of of what's on the horizon in the next update. The devs have previewed a reworked terrain and scene system that's shaping up to be nothing short of spectacular. We're talking handcrafted battlefields that capture the soul of Middle-earth, muddy crossings in Rovanion, dense forests of Fangorn, snow-blasted passes through the misty mountains, and right now many scenes still use Bannerlord's vanilla templates, but the previews of what's coming are enough to make even the most jaded testers start sharpening their sword. The team's focus on terrain diversity means that soon every battlefield will tell a unique story, a far cry from the copy-paste fields of old Calradia. And probably the most exciting part of all of this are the sieges, the city maps, the big siege set pieces that we're looking forward to. Early looks, as you can see on the screen, of Helm's Deep or Dol Guldur show the team's ambition in full swing. We're talking multi-tiered fortresses, vertical combat layers, and sprawling cityscapes that make every arrow fired or gate breached feel meaningful. Of course, the vanilla placeholders still hold the line for now, but what's being built around the scenes look nothing short of monumental. The architecture itself looks really good. Obviously, lots of inspirations going into here, but I cannot wait to get my hands on it. As soon as this update is released, it's going to absolutely blow everyone's minds and start elevating this mod way beyond where it's at right now. The army compositions, the weapons, the armor, everything you get access here is really triumphant. Every culture's troop tree reflects its history. Gondor's heavy infantry discipline versus Rohan's mobility, Isengard's brutal shock troops against the cunning ambushes of the elves. The modders have managed to give every faction its own combat philosophy and identity. When you fight Mordor, you feel the tide, an overwhelming crush of numbers and noise. When you square off against Gondor, you feel the precision and weight of men trained for generations to hold the line. Tales from the Age of Men gives you this real deep sense that all the systems and mechanics talk to each other really well. The battles, the maps, the factions, the AI all conspire to make the world feel dangerously alive, so that you're not just conquering random settlements, you're fighting over places that really matter, alongside soldiers who look and move exactly like they belong there. And of course, it's impossible to talk about Tales from the Age of Men without mentioning the other massive upcoming Lord of the Rings mod for Bannerlord. Kingdoms of Arda was one of the first mods that made me really excited about modding potential in the game, with its gorgeous models, faction previews, and cinematic ambition, but where Kingdoms of Arda still hasn't been released yet, and of course has a few subtle differences in terms of start date, playable factions, etc., Tales from the Age of Men feels like the moment has arrived. It's playable, it's evolving, and it's genuinely great fun. It is definitely a work in progress, you know, many cities and scenes still yet to be done, but it's actually functional. And what really sets the mod apart for me is that it's not trying to be a perfect replica of the film or the books. It's a world first and a mod second, one that trusts the player to write their own legend inside Tolkien's mythos rather than reenact someone else's. The balance between polish and experimentation is razor thin, and somehow the team walks it without falling. It's rough in places, sure, that's the charm. When you're riding with a dozen Gondorian knights into a fog-covered valley at dawn, you stop noticing the rough edges. You're too busy realizing this is exactly what Bannerlord was built for. Of course, it has to be said, the landscape around Bannerlord modding is constantly shifting, right? Taleworld's newest patches have rewritten entire systems, AI logic, combat balance, even modding frameworks. What worked 6 months ago suddenly needs rethinking, redesigning, but instead of slowing down, the Tales from the Age of Men team is adapting, rebuilding, and taking advantage of these updates. The game's engine is finally starting to catch up to the scale of their vision, meaning bigger battles, more complex scenes, more mechanics, smoother performance. These are no longer a pipe dream. It's a chaotic, ever-changing environment, but it's also a big moment of opportunity. And that's exactly where this community can come in. The team isn't some faceless studio. It's a collection of fans, hobbyists, and designers building Middle-earth out of nothing. They need more testers, more people helping them out, now more than ever. People willing to dive in, break things, report back with honesty. Every single test run helps shape the balance, refine the world, and push the mod one step closer to the epic it's meant to be. So if you're interested, jump into the Discord I've linked below in the video description. Sign up. I'm sure they would really appreciate it. Either way, I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. I've been loving this mod for the last few weeks on Bannerlord. I think you will too, hence why I made the video. So if you enjoyed it, give it a like, drop any thoughts or questions, of course, in the comment section below. There is is a link in the video description if you want to go and play it yourself, and subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.